Welcome to this explainer. Okay, we've got a massive topic today, so let's jump right in. Back on July 2nd, 2026, during the national briefing for the Changcheng region, an announcement dropped that is fundamentally reshaping the bedrock of global AI hardware. We are looking at an absolute masterstroke of investment and strategy from South Korea, driven by two tech titans, SK Hynix and Samsung. If you've been wondering where the physical future of artificial intelligence is actually being built, well, this is the blueprint. Just think about the zeros on that number for a second. 240 trillion South Korean won. To put that into perspective for us, that's roughly 175 billion US dollars. This isn't just your standard factory upgrade. This is a monumental, highly coordinated effort to capitalize on what industry insiders are calling the AI supercycle. It's a massive influx of capital designed entirely to ensure South Korea remains an irreplaceable hub for the whole global tech ecosystem. So, here's our roadmap for today. We're going to cover 1. The AI memory supercycle. 2. The SK Hynix investment. 3. The Samsung strategy. 4. The role of the state. And 5. Global impact and risks. Section 1. The AI memory supercycle. Before we talk about the money, we really need to understand the tech that's driving it, right? There are two terms here that are absolutely the keys to the kingdom right now. First is HBM, or high bandwidth memory. That's the high performance memory making the training of these massive AI models possible. But it's the second term, agentic AI, that's the real game changer. We're moving way beyond AI that just lives in a chat box on your screen. We're moving toward autonomous, physical AI. Think advanced robotics and edge computing. And this shift, it's driving an exponential demand for physical data storage. The current supply chain just cannot keep up, which is exactly the bottleneck these investments are trying to bust wide open. Section 2. The SK Hynix investment. If we slice up that massive 240 trillion won pie, Samsung is taking the larger share at 58%. But I want to zero in on that incredibly dense 42% slice, 100 trillion won, or about 72 to 75 billion US dollars. That is dedicated entirely to SK Hynix in the Cheongju region. They are making a highly aggressive play here to lock in their dominance. I mean, we're talking about one of the largest single corporate investments ever made in the space. Now, drilling down into that specific 100 trillion won chunk, a staggering 80 trillion is allocated directly to the M17 NAND fab. That's a brand new factory dedicated solely to NAND flash memory. The remaining 20 trillion won? That goes to the PNT7 facility. This is a dedicated hub for advanced packaging, which is absolutely critical for scaling HBM and high-performance memory. They aren't just stamping out memory chips. They're building the hyper-complex packaging that allows that memory to actually function at AI speeds. The CEO of SK Hynix, Kwok No-jung, really hit the nail on the head here. He stated, "The expansion of NAND applications is driven by AI, not just training, but inference and massive data storage. This is a total paradigm shift." And why does this matter to you and me? Because it proves the industry knows AI requires way more than just raw processing power. It desperately needs immense, high-margin physical data storage to support these massive models operating in the real world. The timing here is basically a masterclass in strategy. In 2027, construction on the M17 fab kicks off, and the PNT7 packaging hub is slated to finish up. Right in the middle of all this, in 2028, analysts are anticipating a severe global memory shortage as current capacity hits its limits. And then, right on cue, in early 2029, that massive M17 fab begins operations. They are literally perfectly sequencing their ramp up to catch the exact moment the market is starving for supply. Section 3. The Samsung strategy. Now, Samsung is taking a vastly more diversified approach with their 140 trillion won, again, roughly $100 billion. Their largest allocation stands tall at 67 trillion won for advanced OLED display production in Asan. Right next to that is a massive 56 trillion won dedicated directly to the AI boom, specifically HBM fabs in Anyang and Shannon. And finally, they've set aside 17 trillion won for next-gen batteries and high-performance AI server substrates. So Samsung isn't just fueling one piece, they're fueling the entire ecosystem. When you line these two strategies up next to each other, the contrast is super interesting. SK Hynix's focus is incredibly tight, memory and packaging, aimed squarely at physical AI. Samsung, conversely, is building this broad, holistic ecosystem for AI servers. Both of these giants are playing perfectly to their unique strengths, and together, they're injecting a totally unprecedented wave of capital into the sector. Section 4, the role of the state. You know, an investment of a quarter quadrillion won doesn't just happen in a vacuum. It requires immense macro-level coordination. The South Korean government is a highly active enabler here. Through their vision for advanced industry development, they are aggressively shaping the Chungcheong region into a high-tech hub. We're talking crucial tax incentives, big R&D grants, and the desperately needed infrastructure, land, power, and water. They're also pouring resources into workforce training. The ultimate goal? Secure South Korea's status as a top 3 global memory powerhouse and maintain what they like to call AI sovereignty. To really grasp why the state is moving so aggressively, we have to zoom out to the global board. On one side, South Korea's vision is heavily focused on elevating their domestic champions, Samsung and SK Hynix. On the flip side, you have the U.S. CHIPS Act, which is funding both domestic and foreign fabs on American soil, alongside China, which is aggressively pushing domestic hardware like the Huawei Ascend. So objectively speaking, South Korea's move here is a direct, calculated competitive response to these huge global forces. 15 gigawatts. Let's just pause on that number. To put that into perspective, that is roughly enough electricity to power over 11 million homes. It is an astronomical amount of energy. SK Group is planning this massive grid for AI data centers nationally, and 1 gigawatt of that will be integrated directly right here in the Chungcheong region. Why? It's all about synergies. By placing massive AI data centers right next door to the memory production facilities, they can instantly test, optimize, and vertically integrate their hardware. Section 5, Global Impact and Risks. So what is the actual ripple effect here globally? Well, it creates a massive positive cascade. First, unprecedented capital flows into South Korea, generating tens of thousands of jobs. This massive influx enables critical facilities, like that PNT7 hub we talked about, to finally solve the advanced packaging bottlenecks that have been choking the industry. In turn, a huge new supply of HBM and NAND reaches the hyperscalers and key players like NVIDIA. Finally, those localized synergies allow for significantly faster custom optimizations. It's essentially a win for the entire global AI supply chain. But let's be real, we have to look objectively at the execution risks too. First off, managing a capital expenditure of this sheer size is fraught with logistical nightmares. Second, the memory market is historically very cyclical. Even with AI structurally changing the baseline demand, it remains a volatile sector. Third, securing that astronomical power grid capacity is definitely no small feat. And finally, you have the ever-present geopolitical tensions and international chip wars, which means the ground beneath these megafabs is constantly shifting. Yet even with those hurdles squarely in view, the general consensus points to one conclusion. This is a highly calculated, strategic masterstroke. By aligning state resources with the unparalleled manufacturing might of SK Hynix and Samsung, South Korea has positioned itself incredibly well. They are ready and waiting to catch that massive AI memory demand wave forecasted for 2028 and 2029. I'll leave you with this final thought to ponder today. We are actively witnessing AI evolve from software running on our screens to autonomous agents operating out here in our physical world. With 240 trillion won on the table in South Korea alone, it really begs the question, as this technology fundamentally changes our reality, who will truly control the infrastructure that makes it all possible? Thank you for joining me for this explainer, and keep questioning the technology that shapes our world.